The 2024 election is shaping up to be an incredibly tight race with Donald Trump currently leading Kamala Harris in a majority of battleground states and even holding a slight edge in the popular vote, a significant change from previous election cycles. Historically, polling often underestimated Trump's support, which means that Harris's narrow 0.6 national lead in recent polls doesn't provide much of a safety net. In 2020, Biden led by an average of 7.2 over Trump at this stage of the race, yet that support diminished on election day with Biden winning by just over 4. Today, with just a week and a half until election day, the path to victory appears daunting for Harris and the Democrats. Let's go deeper into the analysis of each key state, taking a closer look at the polling shifts, underlying trends, what these changes could mean for the overall outcome. Starting with Nevada, which has traditionally leaned Democratic, Trump currently has a 0-point CV lead over Harris. This is significant because Nevada has been in Democratic hands since 2004 when George W.L. Bush was the last Republican to carry the state. Although Harris led earlier in the campaign, Trump has now overtaken her, making Nevada a critical battleground that's currently leaning Republican on the 2024 map. In 2020, Biden had a comfortable 5.3 lead in Nevada polls around this time, though he ended up winning by a narrower 2.4 margin. Polling errors tend to lean Democratic here, which suggests that if Trump maintains his lead, he could win the state. Nevada has moved from tilt blue in 2020 to lean red on our updated map. Arizona presents another stark shift. Trump has a consistent 1.6 advantage over Harris in this state, leading in 5 of the last 7 polls. Arizona was a notable flip in 2020 when Biden narrowly won it by 0.3, becoming the first Democrat since Bill Clinton to carry the state. But in 2024, Trump appears to have Arizona firmly in his column. The state's demographics are changing, but they haven't shifted as quickly as some Democrats anticipated. Arizona has shifted from lean blue in 2020 to lean red this cycle. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. We look at Colorado and New Mexico. They appear likely to stay in Democratic hands, though Harris is polling lower than Biden was at this point in 2020. In Colorado, Harris has an 11-point lead, but this is slightly misleading because the poll was commissioned by a Democratic group, which might inflate her numbers. Biden had a stronger 13-point lead in Colorado in 2020, ultimately winning comfortably. Though Colorado is still a safe Democratic state, the margin signals slightly diminished enthusiasm for Harris. In New Mexico, Harris leads by 717, down from Biden's 12-point lead in 2020 polls. Both states are expected to go blue, but with a narrower margin, a trend that may reflect more than just localized shifts. It may signal a broader hesitation among voters. Turning to Texas, this state has traditionally leaned Republican, but polling in previous years gave Democrats some hope. In 2020, Biden was projected to make a close race out of Texas, with polls showing Trump up by only 1.1. Trump ultimately won by a 5.6 margin, revealing a significant polling error. In 2024, Trump is currently leading Harris by 6 points, a stronger lead than he held against Biden. Given Texas's large electoral prize, this lean toward Trump further consolidates his path to 270 electoral votes. The state moves from tilt red in 2020 to lean or likely red on our current projection, underlining a more definitive GOP stronghold. Heading to the Midwest, where we see some of the most profound shifts, Minnesota has taken a surprising turn. In 2020, Biden led by nearly 10 points in polls, winning by over 7 points. However, today, Harris holds just a 4.7 lead, despite running alongside Tim Walz, the state's popular governor. Biden's broader margin in 2020 contrasted with Hillary Clinton's narrow 1-point win in 2016. But this time, with such a narrow polling advantage, Minnesota has shifted from likely blue in 2020 to lean blue, putting it more squarely in play for Republicans. Iowa is another state showing a consistent pro-Trump shift. In 2020, polling indicated a close race, predicting Trump would win by about 1 point. In reality, Trump won Iowa by a wide 8-point margin. Today, he's polling ahead by 4 points, and if we see a similar polling error in his favor, Trump could win Iowa by double digits. This shift takes Iowa from tilt red in 2020 to lean red in 2024, signaling a solidifying Republican hold on the state. Daska's 2nd district has been an interesting outlier on the map. Harris appears to be outperforming Biden's 2020 numbers, holding a 10-point lead compared to Biden's narrower 3.8-point lead in this district 4 years ago. This improvement is largely due to redistricting, which has shifted the district further left. While Biden ultimately won the district, Harris's stronger polling could indicate a more solid Democratic base here, making it one of the few areas where her numbers exceed Biden's. Nonetheless, this district is isolated in a sea of red-leaning states, reflecting an overall national trend in Trump's favor. Wisconsin, another critical battleground, is currently a toss-up. Trump has a razor-thin 0.1 lead in recent polls, with 6 of the last 8 polls showing the two candidates in a statistical tie. This is noteworthy, as Biden led here by an average of 8 points in 2020 polls, but only won by 0.6, showing a large polling miss. Given the narrow polling margin, Wisconsin has moved from likely blue on the 2020 map to tilt red on the 2024 map, making it a pivotal state for Trump's path to victory. Michigan is another key state with significant implications for both campaigns. Trump is polling just ahead, leading by 0.2, which is a drastic change from Biden's 8-point lead in 2020 polls. Biden ultimately won Michigan by 2.8, but the narrowing margin now suggests it could go either way. If Trump can capture Michigan, it would be a major step towards securing the Electoral College. Michigan has moved from likely blue on the 2020 map to tilt red on our 2024 projection. Ohio shows a similar trend, with Trump leading Harris by 7 points in 2020. Polls indicated a close race, yet Trump won by 8 points. This suggests a pattern of underestimating Trump's support, especially in states with large rural populations. Ohio moves from tilt red in 2020 to likely red in 2024. In Pennsylvania, the story is complex. Trump currently holds a 0.5 lead. Although the polls show mixed results, Biden won Pennsylvania by 1.2 in 2020, but polling at the time predicted a 4.7 lead. If Harris can narrow the gap here, it would provide some hope for her campaign. Still, Pennsylvania moves from lean blue in 2020 to tilt red in 2024, aligning more with national trends. In the Northeast, New Hampshire and Maine seem set to remain Democratic, though Harris's numbers are softer than Biden's were in 2020. In New Hampshire, Harris leads by 7.8 compared to Biden's 11-point lead. In Maine, Harris has around 11-point lead, but the state's second district leans Republican, with our Trump holding a small advantage there. Both New Hampshire and Maine, while still leaning Democratic, reflect the overall polling dips we're seeing for Harris. Virginia shows a similar trend, with Harris leading by just 6.4, down from Biden's 10-point margin in 2020. While Virginia is still expected to remain blue, the narrower margin underscores broader national challenges for Harris. North Carolina and Georgia have both moved into Trump's column, as he currently leads in both states. In 2020, both were competitive and leaned slightly blue in early projections, but for 2024, they are tilting or leaning red. Florida rounds out the list of key states where Trump has a commanding lead, currently up by 8.4. Polls in 2020 showed Biden leading by 2.5, but Trump won the state comfortably. It's time, with a larger lead, Florida has moved from lean blue on the 2020 map to likely red in 2024, further emphasizing Trump's favorable position. Adding up these shifts across the electoral map, we see a major swing in Trump's favor compared to 2020. Biden's 3-6 electoral votes in 2020 reflected a comfortable victory, but in 2024, projections suggest that Trump is likely to win with around 312 electoral votes, reversing the landscape. For Harris, there's still a path to close the gap, but with just days left, it will take a significant momentum shift to overcome Trump's leads. The polling underestimation from previous elections also looms over these final days, making each swing state all the more crucial. This election could very well be decided by a handful of votes in a few key states. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth election analysis as we approach Election Day.